Hello, my name is Albert Nabiul, and I'm a sophomore at McMurtry College, also serving as the current Chief Justice for McMurtry College. I want to applaud the moderators for asking questions regarding the alcohol policy and the incident at SID. Although I'm concerned that both candidates for president have failed to mention CJs when they discuss collaboration and talking with every single member of the student body, whether it be the presidents or the senators. So I want to ask a direct question to both of the candidates. How will you collaborate with the Chief Justices of residential colleges moving forward when it comes to tackling incidents of sexual assault and maybe reforming the alcohol policy and or the preamble code of conduct? Thank you.
I think that's a great question. And as a college president, I've worked extensively with my CJ, of course. And one of the things in light of what happened at SID that we're talking about is really how can we best support the CJs. So currently, the college presidents and the college senators meet on a weekly basis, but maybe some of you would be shocked to know that the CJs don't do that. They maybe meet once or twice a month, if that. And so we're really talking about how can we best support them so they can, one, feel like they are in themselves and feel empowered, but also feel like they have the mentorship to do their job effectively. So my hope for them going forward, and I'd really like to partner with the college presidents and CJs going forward, is to give them a mentor and have them meet with a mentor every single week, and have them meet with each other every single week, so they can really come together, like the group of presidents, like the group of senators, and have a bigger voice in this process. So I definitely look forward to working with the CJs on all these interests, of course.
So Griffin brings up a really great point that within the college, the presidents and CJs and people within the college executive team work together. And I think that what I mentioned earlier about bringing discussions from the college back to Senate, I mentioned that we have college representatives, presidents and senators already, but we are in no way limited to the discussion brought by presidents and senators. These are purely representatives of the college, and there are only two people from the college. And although they bring great points and can represent their college, they're not the only ones who are working to make the college experience what it is. And I think that inviting different groups of people, not just senators and presidents as a part of Senate, bringing college executive committees, bringing CJs, bringing people who are in charge of creating a social environment, such as the socials committee from a college, inviting different people from a college, especially CJs, in these types of conversations is so critical, and making sure that the conversation is based on experiences within the college and not something that we contrive within the Senate.
Hey guys, so quick question I had was, so SB4 has done a really big thing with SA this past year. So I know that SB4 in the legislation, it says that's terminated in terms of the working group at the end of this year. So I was wondering what your plans were moving forward in that legislation and in terms of sexual assault on campus.
Sure. So I think that the whole point of this legislation and the working group is really to move forward with a specific agenda with students, and then also understand what are the expectations of the CUC and the administration in general. And in terms of the working group and the task force terminating by the end of the term and the end of the semester, I think that at that point is a critical moment to understand where has this task force gotten in terms of what they gauge to be student interest and student support for what the course should look like, and also looking at what the CUC tells us are the technicalities of what we are or are not allowed to do, and what is the work and the energy involved in creating a course specifically for this. So really gauging what is the progress so far, what is it that students have responded with already, and how can we include students in the conversation moving forward based on what they've already said that they want. So if it's that the task force has already come up with an idea for a solidified course, then how can we engage students in rallying support for this course that has been made, or rallying students to say, these are the adjustments that I want made to the course based on what the CUC says that we can and can't do.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. I think that we really need to understand the progress that the committee has made and see where else we have to go with that, where are the deficiencies within the student body's support of that, so we can make sure that we're still building grassroots support and making sure that it's really something that the students can own themselves. But I think in general, I would also encourage the SA moving forward to be more active in other areas within sexual assault prevention, so definitely maintaining the critical thinking and sexuality task force, but also look into other areas as this course is coming up into fruition? How can we partner with Title IX? How can we partner with Hutch, the provost, and well-being to make sure that students in the interim are being protected?
Any more questions? Okay, we're going to do 3 seconds one. There's more yes, Sawyer? Yeah. 3 seconds.
Okay. Hi everyone. So I've heard both from the UPs and the presidents about wanting to continue things like advisory boards, as well as looking at what students want, whether it's outside the hedges, inside the hedges, things like that. I'm just curious about in what ways you consulted on the work that's already been done, like by the Rest Education in the Future Initiative, the Innovation and Undergraduate Education and Teaching Excellence Committee, the Economics Advisory Board. Have you reached out to those students that served there to see what they found to continue it? It just seems very disjointed, the efforts that we're making so far. So what do y'all do to plan to address that?
I would say that I think that the historical context of all these programs is incredibly important, and I know that Peter Yoon has been working on a very impressive Google Drive with all this information for the past year. It's actually kind of scary. But I think really contextualizing all these different practices and making sure that working groups in the future have better documentation about what was successful, what was not successful, what objectives they achieved, what objectives they did not achieve is probably the best way forward. I don't think that information currently exists, so I definitely try to reach out to those students. But in looking forward into the future, I would say better documentation.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points that Griffin just said as well. I think it's also really important to understand the context in which this work was done. So for example, the Rice Education of the Future, I believe was a response to President Lebron's vision for the 22nd century. And so for the 22nd century. So I think that understanding the context in which these working groups or these efforts were made is really important to understand how we can move forward, not only from the progress that they made, but also why they responded that way at that specific point in time, and what are we facing now, what cultural shifts, what policy shifts have we made, and what can we respond with at this point in time.
Any other questions? Yes, Christian. This is the last question, no more questions after this.
Hi, I'm Christian, a senior at Jones College. So I know you've talked about working with administration. My question for you is if you could take administration as well as all the admin out of the equation, what policy do you think needs to be addressed the most, and in what way would you advise or revise it?
This is a difficult question. I think that one of the biggest, I don't know if this is a policy per se, but I think especially if administration is moved out of the picture, I think that we can assess more of the informal expectations that we have within our own community. And I think that this really affects a lot of what we do in our well-being on campus in a lot of different ways, both socially, academically, and in all different aspects of campus life. So understanding what are the social expectations that come with being a student at Rice? What are the expectations for alcohol, for drug use, for academic success, and understanding what is it that really comprises the Rice experience, and what can we do to make our community more enriched, to understand each other more, and to understand other people's experiences so that we can fine-tune sort of our expectations for each other and how we can collaborate to make the Rice experience better.
So I would say the alcohol policy, because right now it is not safe. When students are only allowed to drink in their rooms, it encourages binge drinking before you go out to a party. And so this is something that is really frustrating when the seniors and the presidents are trying to keep the colleges safe, because we're trying to keep drinking under control, but it's also been shoved underground. And so really encouraging people, actually if the administration wasn't involved, to only be able to drink outside of rooms and to only be able to have like public kegs and not be able to drink in their private rooms. Which is